Every day, when you wake up and open your eyes, you see the world in a large scale, the vehicles passing by the buildings and trees in your street, even that morning gong in the corner of your eyes, whether to forget that we are surrounded by many different smaller worlds working a way out of sight. If you are up closely in that eye booger, beyond what your naked eye can see, you will find a small structure that come together to form that nasty yellowish stuff that you were removing every single day, which is a technical name, rib, is made up of mucous skin, cells, oils, and dust. Also, we do not see viruses or bacteria in those we meet every single day, since we cannot see them clearly with our naked eye, and we cannot identify it without one of the most groundbreaking inventions, which is the microscope.
All throughout history, diseases have been mysterious and terrifying. Since we cannot see the bacteria and viruses that cause many of our illnesses, we have invented tales to explain our suffering throughout history. Some people held the view that illnesses were brought on by demons, witches, or by curses that were meant to punish humanity. The first microscope were created and the confusion started to lift. Hi there, I'm Crisanta, and now we are going to talk about microscope. What are the function and how to use it? So let's find out. So what is microscope? Microscope is from the Greek word microskopion. Micro means small and scopion means see or look. An optical instrument used for viewing very small objects such as mineral samples, animal cells, plant cells, and organisms that are typically magnified several hundred times. Microscopes are used to observe the shape of bacteria, fungi, parasites, and host cells in various stained and unstained preparation. At the beginning of the discovery of clear glass, people have definitely been experimenting with magnifying glasses, but it could be argued that the person who really invented, and discovered the use of microscopes as serious tools of science was an artist and researcher. Let's find out who they are.
Hi guys, I'm Francine J. Faraon. So I would be discussing, or we're going to talk about who are the inventors of the microscope. So first one is a Dutch father-son team named Hans and Zacharias Janssen invented the first so-called compound microscope in the late 16th century. When they discovered that if they put a lens on the top of the bottom of the tube and look through it, objects on the other end become magnified. So the device laid critical groundwork for future breakthroughs, but only magnified by between 3 times and 9 times. So moving on, for the other inventors of the microscope, in 1665, an English chemist, mathematician, physicist, and inventor named Robert Hooke. So who is Robert Hooke? He devised the compound microscope and elimination system, which is one of the best microscope of his time, and he used it in his demonstration in the Royal Society's meeting. Robert Hooke also published a book called Micrographia. Here is the micrographia that he made for you to understand more and for your further understanding. Filled with beautiful drawings he made while gazing through the microscope. In his book, he reported apparently for the first time that razor blades aren't really that sharp. If you look at him close up, that insects have strange compound eyes and that plants appeared to be made of tiny structure that he calls cells. So we already know about the cells, right? It is the smallest unit that can live on its own. So for the last part of my discussion, so several years later, a fabric merchant, surveyor, minor public official, and also an inventor named Anthony van Leeuwenhoek. So we already know that he is the father of microbiology, started designing his own microscopes so he could better examine the quality of fabrics he was buying. Due to curiosity, Leeuwenhoek led to examine many subjects aside from fabric, and he eventually discovered that we all know the microorganisms. Anthony van Leeuwenhoek, reported seeing tiny creatures that scientists of his time did not know existed, and he called it animal cubes, which is a lovely mashup or a combination of the word animal and molecules, which he also referred to the microorganism he observed in raining water. So instead of being grossed out of by what he found or embarrassed by the fact that he spent so much alone time examining some creatures, Leeuwenhoek was proud of found he wrote about his divorces in scientific letters to the Royal Societies of England, which is the most prestigious scientific organizations. They published his letters, and this went on to change our understanding of disease forever.
Hi, I'm Abigail, and now we are going to discuss the different types of a microscope and what are the uses of it. Number 1, the stereo microscope. Stereo microscope is a binocular microscope that gives relatively low power stereoscopic view of the subject. It is used a variety of samples that you will be able to hold in your hand. This provides a 3D image on a stereo image that typically it will provide magnification 10 times to 40 times. Stereo microscope is also used in manufacturing, quality control, coin collecting, science, high school dissection, and botany. 2. The compound microscope. The compound microscope is a microscope that uses multiple lenses to enlarge the image of a sample. It is used in biological microscope and it is used in laboratory school, wastewater treatment plants, veterinary offices, histology, and pathology. The sample view under this microscope must be prepared on a microscope slide using a cover slip to flatten the sample. Number 3. The inverted microscope. The inverted microscope is a microscope in which light source is pointing down onto the stage while the sample is viewed from below. It is used in vitro fertilization, live cell imaging, developmental biology, cell biology, neuroscience, and microbiology. Inverted microscope provides magnification to 40 times to 100 times and sometimes 200 times to 400 times. Number 4, the metallurgical microscope. The metallurgical microscope is a specialized microscope designed for looking cross-section of a metal target. It is a high-power microscope designed to view images that do not allow light to pass through them. This provides magnification 50 times to 100 times, 400 times, and sometimes 500 times. Number 5, the polarizing microscope. The polarizing microscope is also referred as petrology or geology microscope. It is used polarized light along with transmitted and reflected illuminating to examine the chemicals, rocks, and minerals.
Now, you already know the history, the function, the inventors, and different types of microscopes. And now, we're on to the parts of microscopes. Let's find out.
So, for the parts and functions of the microscope, first is eyepiece. It is the lens. On the top that you look through, it's part of the microscope that magnifies the image produced by the microscope's object so that it can be seen by the human eye. Next is tube. It connects the eyepiece and separates the objects and the eyepiece and assures continuous alignment of the optics. Next is the arm. It supports the microscope's head and it is also used for carrying the instrument. Next is the base. It is at the bottom of the microscope and it is used for support. Next is the illuminator. It is a steady light source up through the bottom of the stage used to reflect light. Next is the stage with the stage clip. It is a flat platform where you place your slides and stages clips that holds the slides in place. Next is the rack stop. It is the adjustment that determines how close the object lens can get to the slide. Next is the object lens. It is the lens closest to the slides or objects you are viewing. Next is the revolving nosepiece or turret. This is a part of the microscope that holds two or more object lenses and can be related to easily changing power. And last is the condenser lens. It is used to focus the light onto the specimen.